In season with Sake.
Right, so it is a Friday. It's 10:18. Good morning if you just tuned in. And listen, the government is just doing the most right now. It is bill after bill after bill. I know that the Breakfast with Friends, Jonathan and Rach, they spoke extensively with regards to the hate speech bill. However, now to chat about another bill which affiliates education, basic education laws. Joining me right now is the Director of Christian View Network, Philip. Welcome, and how are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning, yes. Welcome. How are you doing?
No, I'm well.
Awesome.
Welcome, everybody. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, or rather for joining us this Friday. I assume that your Friday morning is quite busy in preparation also with regards to the BELA bill, hearing participation that will be happening over the weekend?
Yes, I think it's really important that parents know about this opportunity because the government is planning to change the education law in the most radical change that's happened in our generation. And the changes would impact on public schools, on homeschooling, and on independent schools. And they're having a consultation this weekend in the Western Cape. One opportunity in Gugulethu on Sunday and the other opportunity in Wolseley on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I think it's really every parent values their child more than just about anything else. And that's your opportunity to speak up about your child's future education.
Yes. Now, Philip, could you also help us understand, for those who do not know, aren't familiar with this kind of bill, what is the BELA bill and what does it entail?
Okay, well, it's got a number of key issues that I think we need to speak up on. One is that it's proposing to take away the powers of school governing bodies to control admissions to the school. Now, the thing is that one wants to have a group of like-minded people in a school, which from a Christian point of view can enable them to have a Christian ethos or a Christian compatible ethos. It also impacts on financial viability. It impacts on language policy and the ability to employ extra teachers who would otherwise lose their jobs.
Yeah.
And we argue that this change should be scrapped. Parents should be kept in control, fully in control of the admissions policy through their school governing body. Then the second key issue affecting public schools is that governing body members would be required to declare their financial interests. Now, we've got about 30,000 schools in this country on which there are a number of parents on each governing body. So this would mean hundreds of thousands of people would have to declare all of their financial interests, which I think a lot of people just wouldn't want to do. And so that would discourage them from wanting to serve. And we feel this is just completely unreasonable, and that there's also a risk of a security leak. So we argue they should just have to declare if they're doing any business with the school, which is the only reason for that law being proposed, which is to try and stop corruption. But this is overkill to stop corruption.
Yeah.
Then in terms of homeschooling, which is an alternative, it's a backup alternative for all of us, even if we don't homeschool, is that they would make it more difficult in a number of respects. And one of them is that they want parents to pay for a consultant to assess the progress of their child. We would argue that that is just going to add extra costs where the parent is already losing a salary to homeschool their children, and they should rather just be required to keep a portfolio of evidence of the work that their child is doing. They're also proposing a 1-year jail penalty for people who don't comply with this law.
Sure.
And we would say that is just completely unreasonable. No parent should be going to jail for making choices about their child's education. So then the other thing in this bill is that it would make it more difficult to rent school halls and school fields or school swimming pools. Now, that would affect hundreds of churches in Cape Town which do exactly that. They rent school halls for their Sunday meetings or for functions, and that gives extra revenue to the schools. And they are proposing that they could only have a 1-year maximum lease. Otherwise, they would need approval from the province. Now, we argue that a 3-year lease is much more reasonable, and that would give security to all these churches that are renting school halls and other public interest groups.
Yeah.
They were also proposing that independent schools would have to produce quarterly financial statements in order to be able to receive a subsidy. Now, if you've got a small independent school, they wouldn't have a full-time financial person, and the teachers wouldn't have time to do that administration. So we're arguing for just an annual financial report, which would just make it more reasonable for them to comply. So there's all these small changes which together would greatly erode parents' influence. But the good news is that the Western Cape Constitution says that the children should be educated in a system of their parents' choice, and we need to remind the government of this and stand up for our rights that are in the Western Cape Constitution.
Yeah. Now, Philip, can you, just concerning, parents' rights pertaining education, how is this bill contradictory to what the Bible says about how parents should teach their children?
Well, the Bible gives a number of instructions to us. For example, Deuteronomy chapter 6, Ephesians chapter 5, it talks about bringing children up in the way of the Lord. And doesn't mean that every single child must be brought up that way, but that is the instruction to us as Christian parents, and the schools need to allow for that opportunity, and parents can negotiate that opportunity with their school governing body, if they get onto the school governing body, to allow them to have a Christian ethos. We've also got a whole lot of things which we as Christians really do not agree with that are being pushed into our schools, such as transgenderism and being forced to use these pronouns and stuff of saying somebody is a different gender to their real gender. And parents, by being involved in the school governing body, can make a difference to stop that kind of thing being pushed on their children. There's also things Christian parents do not approve of, the sex education which is being pushed by state at the moment, and got very strong objections to that.
Yeah.
And so we want as much power in the hands of parents as possible, but in order to have that power, they need to have control over admissions, because they want to have children coming into the school that would agree with other parents in that school about the ethos of the school. So it's very important that the power is kept with parents, and that the government learns to respect that. And I think that by speaking up at these two opportunities that we've got coming up this weekend, you can make a difference.
Awesome. And speaking of which, in the same breath, when are the provincial public participation hearings happening over the weekend? Where and when?
Okay, well, the closest opportunity is going to be on Sunday, 28th of May, at 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock at the Gugulethu Indoor Sports Complex.
Okay.
And we expect that there will probably be a lot of people there. And so we advise everybody to go early, so maybe arrive at 11:30, rather than at 12 o'clock when it's officially starting, to make sure that you get a seat. We've had in Pinetown recently the number of political party supporters were bussed in, and as a result, there was not space for everybody who wanted to have a chance to speak. But and I think a lot of those people that were bussed in didn't really understand what the implications of this bill was. Then the other opportunity is in Woolsley, which is a nice, beautiful drive out of Cape Town for the day. If you want to go there on Saturday, 27th of May, at also 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Wolseley is on the way to Ceres. It's about an hour and a half's drive at a reasonable pace. And I think that will probably be less busy. So you can make your choice. Maybe if you are in the northern part of the city, then that would be closer to you.
Yeah. Now, and for more information, for those who just tuned in, and or maybe parents who just want to read more in depth with regards to this bill, where can they go? Is there a particular website, a contact number?
Yes. If you go to the website on facebook.com/Christian View Network, then you'll see a lot of articles, and there's just a reminder of just the details that I've just given here. And there's also articles on other issues as well, which are facing Christians at the moment. But I think there are really hundreds of different issues which children and parents face in a school and in education. But for every issue, the question comes up, who decides what is going to happen? And the politicians who are saying, no, well, the politicians must decide a one-size-fits-all solution for all schools. And we're saying, no, in each school, the parents must decide their solution for their school. And if they're homeschooling, those parents must decide what curriculum, what method their children are going to learn, because parents know what is best for their children.
Philip, thank you so much, and I really hope that parents will come out in numbers over the weekend. And of course, I will reiterate the venues of the hearings, and hoping that we will reach a point of equilibrium that will make the parents happy and also the government. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
All right. That was Philip Rosendahl, who is the director for Christian View Network, and he spoke just a little on the BELA bill, which, as us as parents should be concerned about, because there is an issue there, one of the key issues there that contradicts what the Bible says about us as parents, or rather our parenting rights with regards to our kids and our children's education. And if you want to have your say with regards to this bill, you can head over to the provincial public participation hearings that are happening over the weekend. Today's one is starting at 2 up until 6. It's happening at George at the Community Hall, 47 Mission Street. Series Saturday, the 27th of May from 12 till 4 p.m. It's happening at the Montana Community Hall, Anglia Street in Wolseley. And of course, Sunday, it's happening between 12 and 4, as you heard it yourself, at the Guguletu Indoor Sports Complex. Have your say and be the change you want to see.